Alright, this is Weapon X Reacts and we're back with another video, and this is going to be a review of The Smashing Machine, which is a new film directed by Benny Safdie, and to me, this was one of the best movies I have ever seen this year, and I just want to let you know that there will be a lot of spoilers in this review. I'm going to break down the plot of this film. So, MMA fighter Mark Kerr reaches the peak of his career, but faces personal hardships along the way. One thing I liked about this film is that it's really well acted, especially when it comes to the performances from Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt, which I will get into later on, and it's also an emotionally gripping film that I totally recommend you go check out, as it's most definitely worth your time, even if it's slow paced at times. Dwayne Johnson does a great job playing Mark Kerr, and to me, this is easily the best performance I have ever seen from him as an actor. And it's actually nice seeing him in a role of where he is not playing himself. And one thing I liked about his performance is that he makes Mark Kerr someone you can actually care about. And not just that, but the makeup work makes him look completely unrecognizable as him. And overall, Dwayne Johnson's performance is most definitely worth all the hype it's getting. And I really hope he gets an Oscar for this, because he really shown just how good of an actor he can be, as this is completely out of his comfort zone. And I fucking love it. Emily Blunt was absolutely amazing as Dawn Staples, and I thought the relationship between her and Dwayne Johnson's character was just really well done. And not just that, but she brought so much depth to the role. And I thought the scene of where she tries to commit suicide while having an argument with Mark Kerr is really intense. And I just want to say that Emily Blunt's acting right here is really powerful, and overall, this is easily one of the best performances I've ever seen from Emily Blunt, as she shows just how toxic her character can be, especially when it comes to the relationship she had with Mark Kerr. The fight scenes are easily one of the main reasons of why this film is so fucking good, as they are both realistic and gritty at the same time, and the fact that they put real UFC fighters into the film makes it even way better than it already is. And it reminded me a lot of Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler, which is another great film I totally recommend you should watch once in your life. And overall, the wrestling scenes really goes to show you that this is a film that respects the sport it's based on. Benny Safdie's direction of the film was just something else, and I just want to let you know that this is the first film he made without his brother, and to me, he really proved that he is one of the best directors working in Hollywood today, because he did such a great job at telling the story in a very compelling way. And I totally recommend you check out some of his other works like Uncut Gems and Good Time. The cinematography was absolutely fantastic, and it really fit the tone of the film. And one thing I liked about it is that it made the film feel like a docudrama. And to me, it was just so well done. And overall, the cinematography really makes this movie even way better than it already is. If there was one thing I didn't like about the film is that I thought the relationship between Mark Coleman and Mark Kerr could have been developed a little bit more, as it felt pretty generic, and this goes the same way with the film's story. Even if it doesn't fall into the problems that most biopics have. And not just that, but the story was done in a way that felt authentic and less cliched. The problem here is that at times it feels unoriginal. But still, this is an amazing movie that is worth all the praise it's getting. This is the rating that this film got on Rotten Tomatoes, so 73% from the critics and 78% from the audience, which is really positive for a film like this. And I'm gonna read out the reviews right now. So for the first one, the main reason to see this film is Dwayne Johnson's detailed and moving performance in the first genuine dramatic challenge of his acting career. For the second one, The Smashing Machine is a solid sports genre flick, but the true highlight here is Dwayne Johnson's layered performance. While the film lacks cohesion and definitely insists upon itself at times, Johnson's great character work feels poignant. For the third one, The Smashing Machine is more than just another sports biopic, examining what makes or breaks us as humans through a spectacular lead performance from Dwayne Johnson. For the fourth review, this is the most raw and vulnerable that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has ever been on screen. Once you've seen him this exposed, you won't watch his typical action movie stunts in quite the same way ever again. For the fifth one, you don't have to be into MMA or sport in general to engage with the characters. Watch it for the human drama and the fine acting, and I actually really agree with that. For the sixth review, it is very clearly an attempt by a filmmaker to make a sports movie that doesn't lean into the expected cliches of sports movies. For the seventh one, it is a film that feels gloriously alive, earnest in its depiction of masculinity that is fragile rather than toxic, while still grappling with the question of why anyone would choose to make a living in such a barbaric way. For the eighth review, The Smashing Machine is the film that rewrites the history of Dwayne Johnson's acting career. The Smashing Machine might earn Dwayne Johnson an Oscar nomination. The Smashing Machine is good, but Dwayne Johnson is great. For the ninth review, the story of the troubled MMA champion Mark Kerr is a classic redemptive arc. The Rock makes it raw and compelling. For the 10th review, Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt's multi-layered performances shine in this familiar but involving adult drama. And that is something I most definitely agree with, and to me, while this film is massively flawed, it's actually nice seeing a film that actually tries to tell a good story, which is something I can't say for most movies being made nowadays. And I really think that this is one of the best sport movies I have ever seen in my life, as it does not hold back from showing who Mark Kerr was in his career, especially when it comes to Dwayne Johnson's performance, which is easily one of the most powerful performances that has ever come out this year. And to me, in all the other films he's been in, he just played The Rock. While in The Smashing Machine, he plays a character that's going through a lot of shit in his life. And another thing that's interesting about is that the makeup work is absolutely fantastic, and you can definitely see that it's gonna get the Academy Award for Best Makeup and Hairstyling, because when I first saw Dwayne Johnson as Mark Kerr, I didn't even recognize that was him. That's just how powerful his performance really was. One of the best things about this film is that it does not hold back from showing Mark Kerr's addiction to painkillers and how it affected his life, and I thought Benny Safdie did such a great job at showing it in a way that is realistic. And it's just something we need more from Hollywood these days, especially in an age of where every film is just content that exists only to be consumed. And one thing I like about Benny Safdie as a filmmaker is that he takes an actor who's been in roles that most people like, but they're not very good performances. And I saw it with Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems, because while he is a comedic actor, that film showed that he should do more roles in drama films. Also, I thought the soundtrack was really good, and it really fit the tone of the film. And I'm gonna show you an example of it right now. I actually want to see The Rock do a lot more serious roles, because here he knows how to do a serious role well. I actually will admit that when I first heard about this film, I first thought it was going to be a pretentious vanity project from The Rock, but when I saw it, it was actually really compelling, as it did it in a way that didn't feel pretentious or self indulgent at all. I actually want to see what Benny Safdie's future might look like as a filmmaker, because he did such a great job directing this film. And I even heard that his brother is also directing a film this year, and it's got Timothy Chalamet in it. Looks fine. Also, another problem I have with the film is that I thought the script was a bit bland. Maybe that's just me. Also, I thought the actor did a great job playing Mark Coleman. But I will admit that his character felt pretty underutilized. There's something so human about this film. I'm going to explain the ending of this film. So, after the argument with Dawn, we see Mark Kerr going into the next fight, which causes him to lose after being kneed while having flashbacks of the good moments in his life. And then he makes the decision to Mark Coleman that he is going to drop out to get stitches, which leads to Mark Coleman winning the championship. And then we see Mark Kerr sitting in a shower and laughing. And the film ends with him in the present day at a shop. And it's revealed that he got married with Dawn 11 days after his loss at the 2000 Grand Prix. And that he retired in 2009 but still became one of the greatest fighters in MMA history. And to me, this was a perfect ending to a film like this because it shows that it was more about his recovery rather than becoming champion, which is exactly what this movie was about. And that's what makes the film so powerful. I'm gonna show you the trailers of this film, starting with the first one. And I just want to let you know that This is a new A24 film, and I just really like A24. I like the films they make.
Probably looking at my eyes. How'd that happen? Well, have you ever heard of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC?
The fact that the film is shot handheld makes every scene so immersive.
Do you hate each other when you fight? Absolutely not. How do you know Mark Kirby? Yeah. Oh, we go way back. He's a buddy of mine. Come on, baby. Too much? Never. Too much? No. Please welcome in his octagon debut, Mark Kirby! Winning is the best feeling there is. It's 40,000 people and they're cheering you on. There's no other high like it in the world. No contract, no money? No money. Do you have any stronger pain medication? Advil? Advil. Advil? Yes. Don, would you like? No. Handing him out like candy. Let's all get in. Let's all, everybody get in. Yeah, Don, can you take this picture for us? Yeah. What are you thinking at the beginning of the fight? It's simple. Am I going to hurt him before he hurts me? This Grand Prix to crown the greatest fighter in the world. He has come back from the brink. Let's see if he can pull out a victory over Mark Coleman. Have you spoken to either about finding such a good friend for a life-changing amount of money? I just need you to let me in. Always about you. Only about fighting you. Let's fucking go. Ex-con man. Think he wants your autograph? Sure, no problem. No fighting. Please give a round of applause for Mark Kirby. Hello. And thank you to everyone for allowing me to be here today. You have been extremely understanding to me, dealing with my personal struggles. Well, damn it, Tom. Let's do it. Who's the best? There's no way I could say that. Why? Why? Because my tummy. You know what that would do to my tummy. I would get sick everywhere. No, it's about perspective. Okay? Just let you like on the inside, you don't feel it. You're like pinned against the wall. When I started taking every breath with you. Oh my goodness! What is out? This is truly shocking. When he's distant, it's hard. I'm sacrificing everything. What do you have for me that's so strong? Advil? A day without pain. It's like a day without sunshine.
To me, I thought Dwayne Johnson is more of a entertainer than an actor. He is the brand. But here, he shows that he's more than that.
I know that you've been questioning whether I am the fighter that you thought that I was. And one of my biggest regrets in life is the answer to that.
Like, really, there's a lot of wrestlers that actually prove that they can be good actors, like John Cena and Dave Bautista.
too.
Feels great.
Do you want some more?
Yeah, so you're gonna stretch me more, yeah.
Too much?
Never.
In conclusion, this was a great movie as it was just so well acted and directed, but it flopped at the box office, making $6 million on a $50 million budget, which is actually the worst box office for The Rock. And I think the reason on why it flopped is because nobody gives a shit about The Rock anymore. Even if this was his chance to prove himself that he can be a good actor, and while he is massively pretentious as a person, he did a great job playing Mark Kerr. And to me, it really goes to show you that nobody goes to movies for the actors anymore. And you can really blame Hollywood for this because they did it to themselves. And the fact that more people are waking up to this makes it even way better. And to me, while this film is massively flawed, it's definitely worth the watch. As it's not just about drug use, but it's also about obsession and toxic relationships, which was just so well done. And it's definitely a film I would watch again, as it's easily one of the most powerful movies I have ever seen in my life. Also, anyway, that's all I got for today. Go away now and always remember, strike back like a weapon against wokeness.